Av geeks love it, airlines don't. Why did the Concorde fail? Well, it was all from a few flaws with the supersonic airliner that everybody loves. Let's take a look at Concorde's downfall. Welcome to this video. The Concorde was a revolutionary airliner. You can get from New York to London in under 4 hours. Isn't that some? After 21 years of being retired, people still miss it. So what led to the retirement of this famous supersonic airliner? Let's take a look. So, why was the Concorde thrown under the bus? And why did only 2 airlines fly out of the 18 airlines that ordered it? One of the reasons was high operating costs. The Concorde guzzled fuel like there was no tomorrow, 3 times faster than what we have today. Just imagine that. 3 times faster than today just for 4 hours of flying. That must have been expensive. The Concorde also needed specialized maintenance due to its unique design and extreme conditions it operated in. The maintenance costs were estimated to be 50% for its operation compared to the 10% of a conventional airliner. The Concorde also needed a special highly trained staff, which of course costs money. And also, on the last year of Concorde for British Airways, they estimated the Concorde costed them up to $2.3 billion to operate. Another reason the Concorde was retired was because of sonic boom restrictions. But what is a sonic boom? Well, it's when the aircraft approaches the speed of sound, where sound waves start to bump into each other and squeeze together in front of the aircraft. After the aircraft passes the speed of sound, the plane rips through the sound barrier, which causes the boom. And because the plane is traveling faster than sound, the people in the plane are unable to hear the boom. But for the people on the ground, they are able to hear it. So that is why most countries ban supersonic flight over land, because the boom can cause damage, fear, and disturb people and wildlife. This also generated public opposition against the Concorde. A third reason the Concorde failed is because it had very limited market. Because mostly rich traveled, the ticket prices were also very high, considering the seats on the Concorde were only 17 inches wide. That's literally like Ryanair level for $2,000 a ticket. The Concorde also had a small capacity. It could only carry 92 to 120 people. For that big of a plane is insane. And the last one is because the Concorde faced competition from airlines serving premium tickets. The fourth reason the Concorde failed is because it was technologically limited, even though it was quote-unquote advanced for its time. The reasons are because the engines were really powerful but guzzle fuel faster than your stepdad drinking beer on Sunday Night Football. The Concorde was also made from aluminum, which limits the Concorde's top speed and lifespan. The Concorde was also really loud. I suspect we all seen that Concorde video taken from Heathrow, and you can hear how loud that was. Another technological limit was that the Concorde's range was limited, given by its very inefficient engines. And lastly, the Concorde's control system was advanced for its time, but less sophisticated in modern aircraft. The fifth reason the Concorde failed was because of safety concerns. To take an example of Air France Flight 4090, and prior to departure, DC-10 took off from the runway. Flight 4090 was about to take off. Part of the DC-10's engine cowling fell off and landed on the runway. As Flight 4090 took off, it struck the engine cowling. The rubber flew off the tires and punctured a fuel tank, which ignited. Since the plane was past V1, the pilots could not abort. They managed to get airborne because they were only on 2 engines now. The plane banked left and started to sink. It shortly crashed into a hotel, ending the lives of all on board and few on the ground. This showed a vulnerability in the fuel tanks and tires, and since Concorde had previously had tire failures, this crash only caused more concerns. And another reason the Concorde had safety concerns was because of its high landing speeds. On average, its landing speed was 160 knots, pretty fast, especially if there's like tailwind or something. The last reason the Concorde failed was because of its environmental concerns. This is because the Concorde was very loud. I don't think you want to hear this all the time. Another reason is because it disrupts people and wildlife. Like, imagine hearing this every single day. Another is air pollution. The Concorde made nitrogen oxide and CO2, and since it flew closer to the ozone layer, people started to worry if the ozone was getting depleted, which, if it did, will cause us a whole bunch of trouble down here. So, the biggest factor in the Concorde's demise was probably either high operating costs or the Concorde's small space in the market.